Hi everyone, another day today at Speakers Soundbite, and as we already did it, I wanted to bring valuable role models, valuable people that are already doing coaching trainings, maybe presenting things to audiences, and for whom we can take value and learn things together. The guest from today is really from 2018 for me, if we have a timeline like that, and if we can fly a bit on this timeline of thoughts and memories. We've been met in training, we've been together in NLP, and she's actually been featured on the Huffington Post, Fox Business News, and many numerous publications on and offline. She likes to say and believe about herself that she helps people to create and craft an irresistible message, and watch out, this is awesome, soul-aligned marketing plan through a journey of personal transformation with all her knowledge and all her empathy that I've seen since I'm following her. So no more curiosity, no more suspense. Let's see who we have today with us. Hi there.
Hi there, Alex.
Tell us who you are, what you're doing, what's your thought, and thank you very much for being here today with us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me. So my name is Stephanie Benedetto Padovani, which is a mouthful, and I am a wild creation coach and soul storyteller. So usually I am working with coaches, healers, and creative entrepreneurs, as Alex said, to create irresistible messaging and soul-aligned marketing. I also do public speaking at workshops, conferences, online webinars, videos. I'm making a lot of playful videos and doing a lot of storytelling in videos as a part of my own 100 days of storytelling adventure right now. And I also have a podcast called Wild Creation Stories. So lots of speaking in there all over the place.
Lots of speaking, and I see lots of flexibility from your side. I mean, you speak in public to audiences, you also are in online, you also create video stories, and I think you know already about yourself that you're a great storyteller, isn't it?
I have been discovering this. For some reason, I was surprised about it. But yes, now I am fully stepping into that role as a storyteller. It's very fun. And it's got such beautiful applications in both business and also in entertainment and transformation, which most people don't know. So it's very fun.
Okay. I know it might be a bit challenging, but can you think maybe about a time when you had to deliver that first presentation to a public, like that very first moment?
So the very first one, I sat with this, and one that I can remember specifically, which was a big deal. I was with my partner at the time, and we had just started a mobile DJ business. And I think it was maybe our first or second job. It was a Sweet 16, so which is a birthday party for a young lady who's turned 16. And she had all of her friends, and we were outside under a pavilion. And they wanted us to do a lot of those participation games, those party games. We had all the equipment, we had all the music, but now somebody had to get onto the microphone. And Jeff and I looked at each other, and he was like, I'm not doing it. They wanted us to do the chicken dance. And I had bought these rubber chicken feet for the birthday girl to wear because I wanted to go above and beyond and have everyone be happy. And I was like, I'm going to have to get on the microphone. Are you kidding me? Somebody's got to do this. So I picked up the microphone and led the chicken dance. And I was definitely nervous, definitely feeling the shakes inside of me and not sure how it was going to go, but I felt like there's no choice. Somebody's got to do this. We have this job. We have to do what we said. I remember my voice was a little unsteady, especially at that time, but it worked and it was okay and everyone had fun. And I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And it was the beginning of my becoming the master of ceremonies for weddings, because that was actually just a party, but we started specializing in weddings for 15 years. So that started a whole career in public speaking, actually, and I had no idea.
A long time coming, long time coming. And I've seen here, I've heard here actually something about the shakes inside of you. Where, I mean, if you remember, where did you feel those sensations? Or
as I'm thinking about it now, I seem to recall that they were probably in my chest, and maybe also like with my stomach too, like physically, like the freak out trembles.
Okay. I think the next question that really connects to what you've said, that someone has to do it, yeah, that word you kept saying to yourself, is what do you anchor yourself in order to be powerful, to speak and to connect to the audiences?
So it's very different now, and it's become different even since we met at trainers training. What I do, let's see, and you can probably pull out the language and the anchors actually as I'm talking through this, is just become very present. I have a belief that when I show up and I go with what I know, that whatever needs to happen will happen. I will have the words, I will know what to do, and I can trust it. So that is very much the state that I take for speaking. I still feel sometimes waves of nervousness, but not so much, because now I don't take them seriously. I know that, oh, they will pass. And I just come back to right here in my body, connecting with the people I'm there to serve, whether it's one person or a whole group of people. And I can feel in that moment, there's something that happens. It's like I'm open and I'm connecting at the same time. So don't really think about it. It's just sort of what happens now. Yeah, that's how I would describe it, I think.
Nice, pretty thoughtful. Hearing so many shifts from one place to another, one position to another, going through emotions, and that makes me wonder if you still have those emotions at the same intensity, or in time you don't have them like before.
So back when I was a DJ,
DJ.
I had, yes, oh, so I was a wedding DJ, right? And
yeah.
Master of Ceremonies. My ex-husband and I did that together. So when I was making announcements, the very first announcements, the first sentence out of my mouth, I would always make a mistake for years. And I would like stumble over my speech. And then I would get it out of my system and I was fine. But that first, I was always thinking. Like back then, I was always thinking. I was stuck in my thinking and kind of worrying about, do I say this? Do I say that? There was just a lot of stress and pressure and I was not very present. So now, yes, I still sometimes go off into thinking. I attended a workshop with a gentleman named Michael Neal called Emerging Voices. And it was all about allowing the voice inside to come out in all kinds of communication, written communication, video. We did some public speaking. We recorded ourselves. And our final project was to do something called the last lecture. So the idea behind that is that if you know you're going to die soon, what is the last lecture you will give? And I've been experimenting with something different. I used to really, really prepare for speeches. And I used to practice and rehearse and like get everything down. And that worked for me at the time. Then I thought, that was awfully stressful. So something just started to shift, and I thought, I started trusting more and more in the moment and what I know and my intuition, and not doing so much thinking, which was something that really was beautiful that came out of the trainers training when we overloaded our conscious mind and then had no choice but to just show up and do it without thinking because our brain was fried. Amazing things come out. So that was sort of the beginning of it. But since then, I've done it even more. So I really didn't practice for this last lecture at all. I did preparation, I wrote things out, but I didn't memorize and I didn't try to make it. And I knew it still wasn't quite right, but I showed up with an idea of what I was going to talk about. And I knew, because I know from experience now that inevitably something new will come out, and I'll hear it come out of my mouth and I'll go, wow, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? So there's something about the creative genius in that moment. But when I got up to take a seat before the presentation, I felt like, whoosh, I'm very comfortable speaking publicly, pretty much in any medium. But for some reason, I sat in the chair and I felt this wave of nervousness. And I went, okay, I know what to do. Just be here and be quiet until the words come. And it did, and it was fine. And occasionally I would catch myself thinking instead of being present in what I was saying, and I just come back. So that's kind of how it is for me now. Yes, I still feel feelings, but I don't obsess about them because I know that they move. And I know that if I come back to the present, I come back to my body, that's where I find what to say. And it's okay if I pause. I can even use it. Like, and everyone's hanging on my words, and it creates this beautiful tension, and it's also very real. Or I can laugh at myself, and I can be interrupted, and it doesn't throw me like it used to. So over time, like that comfort level has developed, but it's mostly because I'm just not thinking about it as much anymore.
Yes, you said something about trust, having trust to this state of self, let's say. And I found myself also sometimes looking at mentors or models of speakers. And then whilst going on the stage, preparing to give one speech or another, I said, dude, I don't know how to be anyone else, just myself. I know how to be the best. So why should I not trust myself? And how would it be like to have courage to, okay, follow a scheme, follow a script, or maybe some things you prepare before the training, but just have trust in self. And maybe, as you said, you're going to find yourself surprised about what you're saying right there on the stage.
Oh yes, there is this beautiful creative, spontaneous genius that can come through us when we open, when we're present, and when we're just being ourselves in that way and not trying. There are some speakers who are very, very good, very polished, very talented, very skilled, but they lack that aliveness of letting something new come through. And that has nothing to do with whether or not they're following a script. You can follow a script and still let it be very alive. It's like if you watch an actor who is stiff because they are trying to make it, they may have perfect delivery, but there's something alive that's missing. And then on the other hand, you can have someone who's not very experienced and not really good at the technique, but there's something so alive that we can feel. And for me, anyway, I'd much prefer to be alive and have a very imperfect performance or speech than to be stiff and not let that aliveness come through.
Nice. Pretty much about the momentum and pretty much about the awareness and having the courage, I see. It's on our today's watch. Great. Let me show you another subject that was in interest for us. The myth about a public speaker that is excellent should be a born talent. What do you think about this?
That's what I think about it. Are we born excellent speakers the moment that we come into this world? I don't think so. The way we're raised may influence that. You know, we may have more experience. We may have people reinforcing the fact that, oh, you're a great speaker and you're a very poor speaker. And then we get stuck in those beliefs all of our lives. But no, those are just stories. Those are stories, not truth. I believe personally that if you have a desire to speak, if you have a desire to get up in front of a room and move people or share something or teach something or make videos or do a podcast, you have within you the ability to do it. You already are becoming that. Now, there's a learning curve. You're probably going to have to learn and practice and do some things to get there, but you can because you desire it, period. That's my personal belief.
So what do you think about the knowledge base? Do you think that each one of us should follow some training, some universities, or how did it was for you? How it was for you?
So for me, I think I always liked using my voice, even though I didn't recognize or own that fully because I thought I was shy. I thought I was quiet. That's not really true. Sometimes yes, but also not always, definitely not always. So being a DJ was the first big door that opened there. And I had to do it for the job, but I don't think that was an accident. It wasn't an accident. I learned so much because I was doing it. And I realized, wow, I have a long way to go. So I took voice lessons and I started taking classes that were specifically for DJs and masters of ceremonies to learn how to tell a love story for couples and how to use my voice in a powerful way. I did things like the NLP trainers training that we did together. I mentioned earlier this training I did with Michael Neal. So I've done things along the way to work on those skills. So I would say that if you're interested in becoming a better speaker, do that. Do you have to? No. It will help. There are certain things that you can learn, and certainly just showing up and getting comfortable and realizing, wow, I didn't die. I just spoke in front of a group of 10 people and I thought I could never do it, and I'm still here. Oh, wow. What if this could be easier than I thought? And so just doing it in whatever it takes to get you to do it, whatever you're led to do, that I think is the highest guide for me. Is like, what do you know to do? What do you get? Like, what do you think would let it be fun for you and inevitable?
So much internal thought and internal feeling with those voices and discussions in your head. I think it's pretty engaging to be a speaker from your shoes if you have those wordings and those phrases always on. It's nice. It's nice.
I don't know. It's funny because I discover things as I talk about them. So I didn't know I thought that. Like this cast of characters in my head sometimes.
Yep, they are our friends. They help us. I call them like small observers in my head. Each one of them speaking and telling me stuff. Great. Thank you very much for your insights. They were pretty valuable. And I would like to tell us more about that blog you said, that daily stories that you are doing right now. What's it all about?
So let's see, where shall I start? One of the things that I have no idea exactly why I'm doing this other than that it's fun. I've really, really started to devote myself to storytelling, developing my abilities as a storyteller. I've been a writer for a long time, but now I'm actually speaking it and actually telling stories and seeing what happens when I tell stories before an audience and doing them in different styles. So I said, all right, I want to create something in my life that makes it inevitable that I move towards this. So I've started this adventure for myself that I call 100 Days of Story, and I made it really easy. So every day, for me, this is easy, right? If you're doing something like this, you want to make it really, really easy so that you can, it's almost impossible not to do it. My ex-partner, Jeff Padovani, does this thing called Tiny Habits, and he helped me with this. So I said, I want to do something in storytelling. He said, okay, well, what can you do every day that will be a really easy habit that you can create? I said, well, I'll perform a story every day, but a one-sentence story. So that's really easy for me. One sentence, probably it would take me 1 minute, and I can get out my phone and go onto Facebook and tell a story in one sentence.
Do you have one for us?
Oh, you way to put me on the spot, Alex. Sure. Yes. Let me see here. Hold on a minute. What's the story?
Breathe in, breathe out. We'll pause here.
Yeah. when we show up on the stage of life and ask to see something new and open our mouths, the most beautiful butterflies and birds and creations come out.
I closed my eyes because I got my imagination triggered. Like in a second, I started to see butterflies.
Yeah, there you go. And that's a really funny thing. I've done little workshops with people where they think I can't tell stories. Now was that like an amazing story? Was it profound? I mean, I don't know, maybe, but it certainly didn't. I didn't do a lot of thinking about it. I didn't have any time for it. There you go. Okay. And I just was like, oh, when I start talking and I just wait, something else comes and I could just say it. It's very fun. So that's the exercise, and I'm doing this for 100 days, and sometimes I do more than one sentence, and I'm starting to play with, oh, what if I actually include gestures and I perform and I do a little more acting, which is something that I really haven't done. So that's my next area of growth.
It's really amazing that, as you said, you started to dedicate yourself to stories. You're doing this in different styles. That means you're consciously putting yourself in context of teaching or preaching something. So it's an awareness behavior. It's something that you do. And I like that you say, okay, let's add also some gestures, let's add maybe other things, and see how the response on the other side is received, how people are vibrating with what you're saying. It's really wonderful.
Thank you. And also I'm realizing, oh, I'm not very good at this thing. Where could I learn that? So I've contacted, so one of the storytelling styles that I'm working with, that I'm learning about, is called Rakugo, and it's a Japanese storytelling styles, traditional Japanese storytelling. And so I found an English-speaking performer. He's actually from Canada, and I contacted him like, hey, would you give me some lessons? Could you help me with this? Because I don't know what I'm doing. And I realize the more I learn about it, how much is involved. So why not? If I really want to do it. And I also am in communication with a stand-up comedian, improv performer, actress who I met online, who's in Tokyo. And we're talking about doing a two-woman show when I'm in Tokyo toward later this year. But she's helping me do comedic writing, which I've never done before. And I'm helping her with types of writing that she hasn't done. I do a lot of fairy tale writing and things like that. And making up stories. She tells a lot of life stories, but not fiction stories. So we're helping each other and growing in that way. And I learned just from hanging out with her. And the way she thinks, she helps me to figure out, like, how could you make this funny? It's really good.
I think the keyword is about collaboration and cooperation. And one of my biggest beliefs is that you will find flowers, happiness, butterflies right in the place where you open yourself up and you start collaborating with people.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Things just start to find themselves, they express themselves through us, and then we discover what they are. It's not from the head, at least for me right now anymore. I'm like, no, done living that way.
You must post it with your comedy, your two-woman stand-up show.
Oh, that's going to be a storytelling show. We're still in the process of exploring it.
Okay.
I don't know what it's going to turn into, because that was what we first started talking about. And then all of a sudden we're giving each other homework assignments and giving each other feedback and critique and just basically getting inspired together. Eventually we will create something. I don't know what it's going to look like, but this is how we learn, like how we work together, what we have to offer each other, how we play off each other. I think I help her bring a depth to her work, and she helps me bring more performance and production, because that's her background. So it's a nice combination.
Nice. I'm on the same side of beliefs, so I resonate a lot. We thank you very much for being here today. It was amazing to see your stories with our eyes, with the voice of yours. Regardless of the fact that we're not close to each other in terms of kilometers. We're from two different places, but let's embrace this feeling that regardless of the time you meet someone, there's always a place, or there can be a place where you can reconnect. And as you said, with this lockdown, with this context, and why not in the normal life, let's still build on each other and grow on each other's skills.
Yes, I like that a lot.
We thank you very much.
Oh, you are most welcome. Thank you for inviting me.